This incident took place in my village with my maternal grandfather. My grandfather was a retired army man. After retirement, he used to take care of his pet goats. He would often go to different fields to search for grass for them. One day, as per his routine, he went out of the house to gather grass for his goats. He searched everywhere, but couldn't find any grass. He was very disappointed until he suddenly found some under a tree. He sat down and began cutting the grass. After some time, he heard a noise from a nearby tree. He turned to look and saw a woman, a terrifying woman, and with hair 4 to 5 meters long, fingers that were unnaturally long, red eyes like blood, and dark skin. She was staring at my grandfather. Despite being scared, my grandfather didn't show it. He acted as if he hadn't seen anything and continued cutting the grass as though nothing had happened. After a while, an idea came to him. He pretended to talk to himself, saying that he had left his bag somewhere and needed it to pack the grass. He stood up and acted as though he was searching for the bag. Soon he felt someone following him. He knew it was the same witch. He started running, but the witch continued to chase him. When he looked back, he was shocked to see that the witch was flying, not walking. Her hands were extending unnaturally long, and she scratched his back several times, but he didn't stop running. After running for about 25 minutes, he reached a group of people sitting in a field. He told them the whole story before fainting. They helped him get home, but he remained sick for a month after the incident. The most terrifying part was that the witch began coming to their house every night. She would knock on the door, but they never opened it. Every night, they heard creepy noises outside, and the witch killed a dog each time, eating it. They eventually contacted a religious scholar who tied a thread around their house and gave my grandfather another thread to tie around his wrist. After that, the witch never returned. But the memory of that incident remains horrifying to this day. This is a mystery story of ghosts. A boy who loved exploring mountain areas planned a trip with his friends to visit some mountain regions just for fun, since they were free from their studies at the time. Right after their exams, they packed their luggage and left home. They reached their destination and booked a hotel by the bank of a lake. Their room's window faced the lake. That night, they slept normally. But at midnight, they heard loud noises coming from the lake. Surprised, they immediately opened the window. They saw something strange happening. There was a strange show of mysterious figures doing bizarre acts. Terrified, they quickly closed the window and ran outside to tell the hotel manager what had happened. The manager told them that once a newlywed couple had booked the same room, but they disappeared in an unusual way, and people believe their ghosts now wander the lake at night. Shocked by the story, they went back to their room. The next day, they had fun exploring, but that night, another terrifying incident occurred. At midnight, they heard someone calling them. They were too scared to open the window, but they finally gathered the courage to do so. They saw the couple, transparent ghosts holding hands. The ghosts asked, "Why did you come here?" The boy and his friends grabbed their luggage and immediately left the room. They returned to the reception, handed back the keys, and told the manager the whole story. The manager calmly explained that the ghosts only speak to people who are interested in knowing their story. They were trying to communicate. Despite this, the boy and his friends left the hotel and booked a room elsewhere. This story is told by a boy who was living with his cousins in a rented house. They had come to Delhi for business, and they owned a hotel. One day, while they were working at the hotel, they sent one of the boys to the house to fetch something. When the boy entered the house, he noticed that the swing in the yard was moving. He ignored it, grabbed the item, and went back outside, only to find the swing still moving. He stopped it with his hand, opened the main gate, and then looked back, only to see the swing moving again on its own. Terrified, he ran out and returned to the hotel. When he told his cousins what had happened, they didn't believe him and made fun of his fear. That night, when they returned home, they started preparing food. But as they put the pot on the fire, it started shaking uncontrollably. Only then did they believe their cousin's story. They stopped cooking and ordered food from their hotel instead. The next evening, no one wanted to return to the house, but they had no other option. They slept early, hoping to avoid any more horror. But at 3 a.m., they woke to the sound of someone weeping on the roof. Scared, they gathered the courage to go up to the roof together. There they saw a man in white, weeping. But when he saw them, he smiled creepily and began moving toward them. They ran downstairs, but suddenly the man appeared in front of them. His eyes were huge, his face ballooned, and he was 9 feet tall with long, sharp teeth. Panicked, they knocked on their neighbor's door and explained everything. They spent the rest of the night at the neighbor's house and moved out of the haunted house the next morning, never to return.